No matter what anyone says, choosing a college is a big deal. It feels like you're deciding the rest of your life, and that's a lot for an 18-year-old. So after months of applying, getting accepted to schools, and researching about them, I decided to commit to the University of Nevada, Reno. So in this video, I'm going to break it down, the real pros and cons, my thought process, and why in the end UNR felt like it was right. If you're an upcoming senior in high school, hopefully it will allow you to see why this process is so complex, or provide you with factors and tips on how you can decide. And even though decision day has passed, I know a lot of seniors are still reflecting on whether they made the right choice, and honestly, that's normal. If you've already graduated, you'll probably relate to all the stress and second guessing that came with it. And if you're already in college, it's always interesting to look back at how you made your decision and maybe even appreciate how far you've come. So let's get right into the video. Let's start with the big picture. I applied to over 10 schools, which I might show on the screen right now. But the serious contenders were the University of Oregon, the University of San Diego, and UNR. Just a quick little overview of these three schools. UO had the big school feel. It's known for the sports business, which is exactly what I wanted to go into. The state is beautiful. There's so much forest and lush terrain, which is something that I wasn't used to. It's pretty far and it just felt like something brand new. Now, USD is a private school and is much smaller than the other two major contenders for me. The campus was gorgeous. It's ranked #1 in the Princeton Review, and it was just unreal. Every building felt like I was in a totally different country, like somewhere in Europe. I loved the San Diego area, the food, and just the vibe. UNR, which I actually toured last summer in 2024, was much closer to home. It had in-state tuition, and even though it just didn't have the flash of the other two schools, I knew it deserved a deeper look. Their new business building would open fall of 2025, which is when I would start, and I love the traditional style buildings, the campus size, and just the vibe. Now, after these college tours, I knew the pros and cons of each college, which I'll go more into later, but the money was just the difficult part. Oregon and USD would cost me over $50,000 a year, and UNR would be significantly under that amount. And no matter how much I tried to push that out of the equation, that price tag just kept echoing in the back of my mind. So I had to ask myself, what do I actually want from college? It's not just the aesthetic of the school or the name I could flex. It's what was going to set me up for the life that I want. I'm pursuing business management, and the business is really a major you can go anywhere for. So I wasn't really concerned with the business education I would get from these schools. While UO would bring me infinite amounts of networking and better sports management concentrated classes, I knew that as long as I put in the work in making those connections and learning more about the specific field, I would be set. With USD, the cost was steep, and with Oregon, it was even higher. And yeah, both of those places are amazing, but would the financial pressure be worth it? Money was a huge deciding factor in my process, and I believe that going into debt for a bachelor's degree just isn't worth it. And then there was that personal side, staying closer to home. Oregon felt completely different, from the scenery to the weather. San Diego was close, but it felt much bigger and much busier than where I was from. And while UNR had an environmental change, it would still be in the same state. And I noticed how growth doesn't only happen from going far away. It happens when you put yourself in the right environment, with the right opportunities and people who are just as hungry as you. And lastly, I've thought about my support system. My family would be in the same state as where I would be going, which is just amazing. As I mentioned earlier, while I went on these college visits and researched, I made a note of all the pros and cons of each school, which is what I would highly recommend if you're going into this process. Here's what I wrote. I'll go through these very quickly because some of these I've already mentioned, and then I'll go more into depth about the things that I haven't mentioned yet. For UO's pros, they have great athletics, a business and sports business department, they have a great brand, their trees and scenery, they're a great college town, there's great school spirit and public transportation. They have a 3+1 program. This program allows you to get a bachelor's in 3 years, and that 4th year where you're normally do your bachelor's, you get a master's. And they have a great, clean, and quick airport. Their cons are that it's too big with the distance and the amount of people. There's roads going straight through the public school, which I find is really weird. I didn't like the weather. It's always rainy and cold. I didn't like the area. I didn't feel very safe. It's pretty expensive. Everything closes early. And finally, I would be homesick. For USD, the pros are it's beautiful. They have a great business school. There's a great surrounding area. It's not too big. There's things to do outside of school, closer to Las Vegas, and I like the food. Cons are that there's no sports business department. There's really bad traffic. The sports aren't good at the school. I didn't like their merch, their school recognition. When I told people that I went to USD on a tour, they got it confused with UCSD and SCSU Aztecs. So I feel like that would be a problem in the future when employers wouldn't know about the school I'm going. It was expensive and I didn't like their communication. For UNR's pros, they have a new business building that will be built by the time I'm there. They have a great college town, public transportation. I know people going there. It's a small campus and easy to navigate. I liked their weather. They have all 4 seasons. It's a cheaper option. There's a lot of things to do in Reno. I like the one-on-one academic advisor. As soon as I got accepted, they assigned me someone who would take my questions any day. So I like their communication. I like their digital Wolfpack initiative, meaning every student gets an iPad, a Apple Pencil, and a keyboard upon joining. And I like the surrounding area. Their cons are their school recognition. I don't think people know about it outside of the state that much. Their sports management program's unknown. I didn't like their merch, their brand, or the connections, or their food as much. But that could be something that I could learn more about. And they're also UNLV's rival, which is a college that I cheered on as a kid. They all have their downsides, whether it's the crazy cost, feeling like just another number, or even small things like bad food or boring merch. But seeing it all laid out really helped me. At the end of the day, I didn't just choose UNR because it was a safer choice. I chose it because it's a smarter foundation for me. UNR gives me the runway to do what I want to do without drowning in debt, without losing who I am, and without missing the moment. It's close enough to stay grounded, but far enough to grow. And as someone who wants to make moves in the sports sector, I see this place as the start of something big. So that is my honest answer of why I chose UNR. If you're still deciding, or if you're weighing dreams versus dollars versus real life, I get it. There's no perfect answer, just the best one for you right now. And for me, that's Reno. If you're deciding between schools right now, let me know your top factor in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thought process too. And if you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing, especially if you want to keep up with my journey from move-in to finals, game days to internships, and everything else in between. See you next time. Peace.